Howdy all. Been a while, but I had some exciting news today because this thing turned up. What this is, I've been waiting a while for it, is a clone of a klon. It's a rather special clone of a klon. This was handmade in Italy by a boy, Mauro Freddi, and it's certified. What this thing is a copy, the 9th copy, of an original Klon Centaur Pro Drive serial number 3157, so the 3157th drive, made back in the day, has been very meticulously copied. Comes in a sack, pretty cool little thing, might make a nice pillow. And that's the puppy right there. I think this thing's pretty cool. From all I've read about it, very simple, 9-volt in, so it's not, the original one with a battery, but it does have a battery pack in and out. Straight up copy of a Klon. Internally, the electrics are identical. The components that were found are identical, and what he couldn't find, the guy went out and made, which to me is insane. So it's got like a double stacked knobby thing here on the pot that he had made with an extended reach doofus, input output gain. It's a clone of a Klon. And this has been the final step in this month long experiment into drives. So I'm very much looking forward to that, and I will do another video when I plug all this in and get it all working and test it out. But Mauro, great freaking job on this thing, man. It is beautiful. Solid as anything, came in a day. And there we go. So, for me, the basic gist of this month-long series of things, it's kind of gone a bit off the rails. I wanted to talk about that for a sec. My main thing is usually on the iPad with which I'm filming this. I create copies, like visual images of all of the pedals that are there in the Helix. One of which is this. So for the most part, all of the pedals that I've gone and bought have been things that aren't in the Helix, to complement and see how those work. And then I said, maybe it's time to break down that idea and compare apples for apples. So this clone should be as close to a Klon as I'm going to get, within reason, within any kind of budget. The ever famous Lamb drive that I got from Jet Pedals is a copy of a Blues Breaker King of Tone style thing. And those two go really well together. I've been searching over YouTube, looking at combinations of these, and looking at basically replicating what they do on that pedal show with the gig rig. See if that's possible within the Helix. So, everything is kind of coming full circle finally. The other thing I've been super interested in with this, as it's more or less an always-on pedal, this is a non-MIDI type thing. You're kind of going to set it and forget it and leave that in the chain stack. So what I wanted to do was go through the Minotaur, compare it with this. There are a billion videos out there of the Minotaur also compared to things, and most people say that the Helix is about 95% there. 95% for me, logically, is close enough. But the questions that I have not been able to answer is, does the analog thing actually make any difference whatsoever? For me, with how I'm trying to put together my rig, this is where it's going off the rails a bit. I'm adding more and more real estate, more and more power, more and more stuff. Fun stuff. Who doesn't like pedals? But that's the main push for me. It's, if you're going to take this from a modeling approach, not just the Helix. If the Helix gets you 95% there, cool. What about Boss? What about the Neural QC? That with the captures is supposed to be amazing, 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 amazing. So maybe one day if I do go down the neural route, I will have something to capture and we'll see. Does it really make any difference? What is more interesting for me is the idea of capturing cascades of petals. And from what I've seen in my research, a lot of people with their drives, they just go and decide on 3, 4, 5, 6 gain stages, lock them into position, and then use the combinations thereof. And that for me is where 2021 is going above and beyond, especially from a MIDI perspective. If you wish to keep an analog path, if that's your thing, the obvious thing to do there is to take a MIDI switcher and have the ability to swap and change the order in which these pedals strike, what's going through, and to eliminate the amount of cabling and noise and power coming through the signal chain, which is not something that you can really do easily with a Helix, but I think it'd be worth a shot. So that's today's news. Clone of a clone, Jad Frèer. I think he only made 148 of these things and they're about sold out. So if you're interested in one of these, you may want to check out your boy and see if any of these are left. By all accounts, I hear they're incredible, but as you can see, my desk is now emptied. It's super late at night, so I'm going to have to wait until tomorrow to give it a good test and a demo. But exciting stuff. Wish me luck. If anyone has any comments on this, let me know what you run into your Minotaur, where it sits in the chain. And for me, the most interesting thing is, do you twist the knobs or do you not twist the knobs? From what I understand, the original Klon was designed to be extra big so that your feet could come in here and you could easily slide and mess with those knobs and go from all down here with boost and get those diodes clipping, and this thing becomes more and more and more like a tube screamer, which is not really my thing, but I could certainly dig that. And I'm hoping that the lamb sat here in front of it, which was, again, not really my thing. I tend to be more of a rat guy, or so I'm finding out. The lion would have been better. But the lamb into the clone, what is that going to do? And my super drivey little bear, what is that going to do with it? Oh, very interesting. And this all barks back to the famous Waza Air experiment where I can stick those on, not disturb anybody, crank this stuff up to no end of power. This will actually chew way less power than my beloved HX Stomp. And in the event that something ever happened to the Stomp, I've got drive sections now. I've got delay sections with the plethora. I've got amp sections with the Iridium, so basically I've taken a Helix and I've built a modular Helix with all of my favorite little blocks, stuff that I just couldn't resist. And I'm going to try it out and see what's what. So who knows? Could well be that for all intents and purposes the Helix is more than enough to do all these things, and this all becomes just loveliness to, you know, ogle and look around and play with. I'm still not yet convinced that this whole drive thing is not just one massive thing to play with, but one thing for sure, learning a lot going through this with an individual pedal approach. Would I keep it? Would you? Is 95% close enough? Yeah, they're nice, but that's weight, that's power, that's a lot of stuff. I think it's a great little tool, great little investment from what I've seen. Simplicity actually goes a really long way towards learning stuff, and I'm finding with individual pedals I'm learning more than I am going through the Helix. Probably because of the investment in money, time, and space, probably because, I don't know, a lot of different psychological reasons, but I'm very curious as to the fact, are modular individual pedals really worth the time, effort, space, power, and battery requirements? Are they better? Are they worse? I think the only way to find that out is to simply try it. I've asked loads of people, John Cordy and all the rest about it, and the general gist that I found is you can't really rely on anyone but yourself to figure out what's going to work best for you. So, wish me luck. Should be very interesting. Signing out.